Hi everyone, this is Deirdre Benjamin. I am your professor for this environmental conservation course. And so this video is what I call a roundup. Each week, usually by Friday or Saturday, I will send out a roundup of the past week and then what to expect for the future, for the upcoming week. The idea is for this is to kind of, tell everyone what they're doing really well and other things, maybe what they're struggling with. It's also to kind of go over content a little bit and what my expectations are for the week. Sometimes it's in a video presentation such as this, and sometimes it is handwritten, typed out. So you want to make sure you check your email and the announcements tab every week, usually by Friday or by Saturday every week, and you'll have a roundup out. So I will try and have your forum posts graded. I had them graded by Saturday this week, but usually it'll be by Friday or the latest Saturday morning. So you have them finished due by Thursday, and then I try and have everything graded. So I want to give you a little look into what's coming up this week, because last week we only had one thing due, which is you had your initial post due by Tuesday, your response due by Thursday, and then you have a quiz due every Sunday on the chapter that we cover. And so the quiz, remember, the quiz is only covers what is in the textbook chapter that relates to the session. So the additional articles and form and podcasts, etc., are not on the quiz. So the quiz is really only multiple choice questions that are pulled from the chapter readings for each session. So this week, you actually have two things due. You have, first of all, number one, I want you to take a look at this consumption project, because very shortly you will actually have your consumption project proposal due. So I want you to take a look at my requirements. I won't spend very much time this week on this, but I will next week spend some more time on this. But I really need you to take a look at this consumption project, because very shortly your proposal will be due for the consumption project. The final product is not due till the end of the semester, but you have milestones along the way, so you want to take a look at that. So this week we covered session 1, and most of you did a fantastic job on your initial forum posts. You'll see I made comments on everybody's forum post, and if you notice at the end of everybody's forum post I said, this week it was okay to use the word I believe, in my opinion, these are my thoughts. For your initial post that was due, the introduction post, it was okay to use that. You cannot use the word I forward in any initial posts in this class. So I really, it's something that you need to learn to do in college writing, is take your opinion out of the matter. Now you can still sort of state your opinion, because either you're going to say yes or no, this is taking place and these are the reasons why. So you are sort of giving your opinion, but you're not using the word I or I believe or in my opinion. One time I did that and my professor pretty much told me he didn't care what I thought. Because I'm just some minuscule person on the street, and so my opinion doesn't count. And of course I was offended by that at first, like, what do you mean my opinion matters? And then over time I learned that you really have to make sure that if you're going to have a statement, that you need to make sure you have factual basis to back it up. So that is why all of your answers will not be allowed to have the I statement in them. You can use the I statement in response posts, but not in initial posts from this point forward. Okay, so a lot of you did a great job though on your initial post and your response post. So I made comments to you. Some people lacked MLA citations, meaning you put a web link at the bottom, not proper MLA citations. Some people maybe forgot their response post that's due every week, so that was a big thing. Sometimes people miss word requirements, and I know that sounds little, but following directions is huge, especially in the workplace. So that is something that I did. So you'll see here your quiz is due by tomorrow, 11:59, so that's important. Now, the one thing that you really are going to need to buckle down is, starting in session 2, we're going to cover 2 sessions a week now for a couple weeks, because this is a 10-week course and we're trying to fit in everything that we would in a 15-week semester in 10 weeks. So we're 4 weeks shy of that. So for the first couple weeks of the class, we're going to be covering 2 sessions a week until we're caught up. And so you want to make sure that you are buckled down for these first couple weeks of this class, or your grade will significantly suffer. Okay, so this week we're going to cover Tragedy of the Commons, Session 2, as well as Session 3. And these are huge chapters, lots of information. So you really need to start preparing now for your 2 initial posts that are due by Tuesday, 11:59. So you will have initial forum post due for Tragedy of the Commons by Tuesday, 11:59, as well as an initial post for ethics for Session 3, ethics, economics, and policy. So you want to make sure that you have read all of this material. It's a lot of articles, a lot of reading, but you need to do that in these condensed courses. So you have 2 initial posts due by Tuesday, 11:59. And remember, you pick one of the 6 questions that's answered. If 6 people have answered that one of those 6 questions, then you can't answer it. So you have to move to another question. The reason I do that is I just don't want to read the same answer 36 times. So there's a reason why there's 6 questions. There's 36 students in the class. If, let's say, 6 people answer question number 1 by Monday, you know, they get in there early, they pick the question they answered, then you can't answer number 1. You would have to answer either 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. So 6 people can answer each question. Now, let's say you're the 7th person in to answer the question. I'm going to give you a 0 because 6 people already answered the question. You can see what people have posted already, so you need to make your, you need to log in there and take a look at what people have answered and then make an educated guess as to the best answer, question to answer. So that's important to know. Now, if you notice, next week, Session 2, you'll only have by Sunday 11:59 you'll only have 1 quiz due, which is Session 3 Economics quiz, because there is no chapter that relates to Tragedy of the Commons. So this week coming up, you have an initial post due for Session 2 by Tuesday 11:59. I know the due date here says by Thursday, but no, from this point forward, your initial posts are due by Tuesday and your response posts are due by Thursday 11:59. So you have an initial post due for Session 2 by Tuesday 11:59 and then a response post by Thursday 11:59. You have the same thing due for Session 3. You have an initial post due by Tuesday 11:59 and then a response post to a fellow classmate by Thursday 11:59. And then you also have by next Sunday, which is October 16th, you have Session 3, just a quiz on Session 3. So you have a bunch of stuff going on. You want to make sure you read the material. And I'm going to tell you right now, you need to zone in on this Tragedy of the Commons article by Garrett Hardin. I know it will be a tough read for some of you. It is college writing, and it is a scientific article, so you're going to need to read that article. It's a wonderful article that shows commons or any shared space in the environment. So air, water, land, they're all shared by every single human that's on the earth, every organism, etc. They're all shared. While I know we live in the United States, we're still all breathing the same air and using the same water. It's just cycled through the atmosphere. Is that this Tragedy of the Commons is the issue that we look for our short-term gain in terms of the commons instead of looking at the long-term interests of society. And there are many problems with that. And Garrett Hardin in this article shows that he says there's no technical solution, that we could do all these different things, and he mentions all those different things in the article: mutual corrosion, a welfare state, privatization. He talks about all these different things that we could do to fix the commons problem, the fact that people look for their short-term gain rather than looking for the long-term interests of society. But he says none of that's going to work. Instead, we need some sort of extension in morality, meaning we all need to have some sort of moral compass to worry about everyone else in the world. And I know it's pie in the sky, but it is something we're going to have to face in the future. So this is a great article. He also talks about education in this article too and how important it is. The other articles are great. This one's about invasive species, which is a fantastic article because Tragedy of the Commons, not all invasive species are Tragedy of the Commons, but when someone brings in a species, whether it's a plant or an animal or a bacteria, etc., for their short-term gain, they're not looking at the long-term interests of society. And that is actually, in fact, a Tragedy of the Commons. Now, I know some invasive species are brought from place to place by maybe a bird takes a seed from one place and transplants it to another. That is not a tragedy of the commons because nature is doing that. And so that is something that you want to think about. It's only when humans bring something in for the short-term gain. The Gulf oil disaster is a great article because it talks about privatization of the oceans, and that is privatization of a commons and how it may not work. So these are really great articles here. Now the second session is really important as well. This article, Pricing the Priceless, is super important. You're going to be tested on it. It's about how we make cost-benefit analysis. So how we try and put a price on nature because we look at the cost-benefit analysis as to whether we should destroy the environment or help people. So this is a great article. We also talk about the story of stuff, which is a fantastic article. Actually, I don't know why the story of stuff. Oh, story of stuff, cap and trade. This is a great article. So these cap and trade articles are, you'll see in Garrett Hardin's article in session 2, he talks about a solution to tragedy commons, and one of those things could be cap and trade. Also here in Pricing the Priceless, they talk about cap and trade. So here are wonderful articles and videos on what cap and trade is. Environmental injustice is when we create environmental problems for people of certain demographics or racial a lot of times we discriminate due to race or because of demographics, so lack of income, lack of education in areas. So this is another issue that we're going to cover in this session. So this is a really good session, and I will round up at the end of those sessions kind of the key points that I want you to zone in on from all these different articles. But I just wanted to kind of give you a quick overview of what's due next week. So remember, you have an initial post due for session 2 by Tuesday 11:59, an initial post for session 3 by Tuesday 11:59. You have a response post for session 2 by Thursday 11:59, and then you have a response post for session 3 due by Thursday 11:59. And then by October 16th 11:59, you have a quiz on chapter 2, which relates to session 3. Here's the other thing. These session descriptions are great because they tell you everything that's due, and it also kind of tells you a little bit about what you're going to be covering that session. So if I were you, I'd make sure I read that first, look at what's everything that's due, and then read through everything else. So I know it's a lot of work, but these first couple weeks, we're going to be covering 2 sessions at a time. So it's absolutely important. And if you look down here, your consumption project proposal is due by October 30th. So up here, you will find all of the specifications for the consumption project. So you want to take a look at that and take a look at what my expectations are for the consumption project. All right. Have a wonderful week. I thought your introduction posts were, for the most part, fantastic. I made comments on everybody. I look forward to reading your initial posts, and I usually look them over on Wednesday. So if you submit them on Tuesday night by 11:59, I usually go in there on Wednesday and just take a look and kind of get a sense as to how people are answering the questions, etc. But I will put your final grades in for the forum posts usually by Friday or Saturday each week, and I will also send out a roundup. Okay, so have a fantastic week, and I look forward to your posts on Tuesday. Don't forget, you have a quiz due by tomorrow night, which is October 9th by 11:59 on chapter 1. So don't forget that as well. Okay, have a great week.